Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Christina, coming to you from the Catio. And it is a beautiful Saturday morning here in central Georgia. The sun is out. It's going to be a hot one today, but hopefully I can get out, do some, maybe work in my flower beds, and maybe even cut my grass. But anyways, today our convo is talking about narcissistic enablers. The people who the narcissist surrounds themselves with that are there, that basically ignore the narcissist's destructive behavior. They even play into their grandiose ego. These are the people that bail them out of sticky situations and support the narcissist no matter what. They also can, in the future, when the narcissistic abusive relationship is over, be the ones that would be potentially the flying monkeys. Now, in my situation, my narcissistic abuser, his mother was a big part in enabling him. I think she herself is not a narcissist, but she did leave him, his sister, and his father when he was a little boy and left the family for another man. I believe that's where his hatred for women began, because my narcissist abuser truly hated women. It did not matter. You could be a great person, bad person. He just didn't value women. He thought less of women. And he was always setting out to criticize, ridicule, and destroy, particularly women. But he was not opposed to doing that to men either. So, but the hatred, I feel, began with his mother when she left. She did come back one summer and bring him here to Georgia, which is, he claims it was such a traumatic experience, which I'm sure it is for a child, that she just came and took you from your dad and your sister, and he spent the summer up here. And he would always say, oh, if this happened, not in the 80s, if it happened today, there would be an Amber Alert out. And I'm sure to some extent he's right. You know, you can't just take a child from the parent that has custody and is the primary caregiver. But all that said, he actually had a good summer. He was engaging with friends. It wasn't like she was abusive to him. But that situation and scenario that happened when he was a little boy, I believe she felt like she needed to always overcompensate and make up for that in his adulthood. That's why buy him a house. Oh, you pull a gun on someone at the show? Guess what? That's okay, sweetheart. He could do no wrong in her eyes. And I'm not a parent, so I can't say that I wouldn't feel that way if I had a son or a daughter. But I think that when you see the pattern and how many things, selfish things, and the lack of work, not wanting to hold down a job. Yes, buy me a house. Yes, oh, this working at this flea market didn't work out because I got angry and I had to use a gun or pull a gun on someone. Mom, help me get another job at this flea market. I mean, he was just using and abusing her and capitalizing off of, because he knew she had guilt and carried the guilt of her leaving and abandoning him when he was a child. Now, most people will tell you that that is the root issue with a narcissist, that they are not born, they are created. And I'm kind of indifferent on this. I really don't know for sure. I think there's a lot of factors that play into the human psyche. So I am not going to sit there and say, yes, it's because of trauma, because there's a lot of people who go through trauma and they come out the other side stronger, and they refuse to perpetuate the pattern of abuse when they move through their life and have families of their own. So I'm not sold on the fact that it's a created personality disorder. I think there's a lot of mental factors going in, developmental, everything. So with that being said, though, my narcissist mother, as much as she meant well, I think in her later years, to try to make up for the lack of being there in his childhood, and possibly the things that she has recognized that were traumatic that he went through, he took full advantage of it. And unfortunately, the last year we were together, she was diagnosed with cancer. And to my knowledge, she still is alive, but my narc abuser was her primary caregiver. And it was truly sad. She would have to, now remember, he has no job. All he does is ride bicycles and trains, but he's not going in the Olympics. He's just riding in local races to gain supply from a new group of people. So she was afraid to set her doctor's appointments at certain times. She actually had to tell them that, no, I can't try radiation because it doesn't work with my son's schedule. Her son went to a flea market 3 days a month. And for her, she couldn't even feel comfortable to say, hey, I want to try this treatment, because it interfered with his bike riding. And I think there has to be an end of being a supportive parent when you become enabling them. She enabled him to behave the way he does. And there were days I'd come home from work, and he would just say, I took her to the doctor today, and I couldn't even stand riding with her because she's always so afraid driving in traffic. Well, yeah, because you drive like a maniac. How about that? Because I've driven with you, and it's not fun. But, to him, he's the perfect driver. He's the perfect son. He's sacrificing his time to drive her 15 minutes, drop her off, and then pick her up and take her home. That's not the way a son is. That's not unconditional love. That's not love at all. And the truth is he doesn't know what love is. And he doesn't care for his mother. He's actually, and I think that actually when she received her cancer diagnosis, that is kind of what propelled me into being discarded, because he just looked at it and went, my inheritance is coming up. Ooh, I don't even have to work no more. That's truly the way I believe his thought process went. He's going to get a younger supply or an older supply that can provide him financially, discard me, and wait till mom passes away. So my narcissist abuser, obviously, in his mind, his mother did him wrong. It created a pattern of hatred for women, disgust, disrespect, and it continues. And unfortunately, last I knew, she was alive still, and he was still being the primary caregiver. I always offered to help, take her to her doctor's appointments, and I even said to her, this was probably about a month prior to my discard, I said, if you don't feel comfortable asking him to do something, going to the grocery store for you, or taking you to a doctor, I'd be more than happy to do it. But just as I could say that, she was just as afraid of him as I was. So she wasn't going to do anything but tiptoe and walk on eggshells around her son. And that's her choice, and it's not my problem anymore. But that's the one key factor in the narcissist, at least in my situation, and that's why I'm sharing the story, because he would do anything to manipulate his parents, gain what he wanted, and use and abuse them, and kept them walking on eggshells. Now, my narcissist abuser actually has one friend that has been consistent since I've known him. Everybody else has come and gone because, they're all sources of supply. Now, this friend is also a very toxic human being. And somehow, my narcissist has found someone even more delusional to worship him. And they both now, when his friend went through his divorce, it was crazy to sit there and listen to the things that they would talk about. And how, again, just how all women are horrible. And he ate up every word that my narcissist would tell him. They're crazy. She's a psychopath. She's this, she's that. She's the mother of your children. She's the person you decided to marry. And now you're going to let some person who can't even hold down a job maintain a healthy, happy relationship in their romantic relationship, or with their parents or other friends? Yeah, take their advice. I'm sure they know best. But he fell right into it. And that's when I believe the dating website stuff began, because I would sit there after coming home from work, and the friend would be up from Florida, and my narc abuser would be sitting there, and he'd be scrolling through. They'd be scrolling through on his phone going, look at this one, on dating websites. And it really resonated to me that, wow, they are so judgmental based on someone's picture, description of themselves, and they would just sit there and laugh, belittle these people, women they didn't even know. Too fat, too skinny, doesn't have a good enough job. Look at this one. She has 4 kids. Who's going to ever love her? So, and that's why I also feel, on a side note, dating website is a breeding ground for narcissists. So please, folks, do not feel the need. And if you feel the need and compulsion to find somebody, don't do it online. I think that that's the most horrible idea anybody could possibly do. That's just my opinion, just putting that out there. But yeah, so other than his friend who was also enabling him, and when I say that, he always supported my narcissist, grandiose eager, and whatever my narcissist did, he'd never basically question his process of why he thinks this way, why he thought that way. But it was very funny. When his best friend first met his wife, he wouldn't let my narcissist near her because he knew how much he hated and detested women. So he was smart enough, at least for some duration of time, to not allow my narcissist to influence his relationship with her. So, and that went on for several years. But of course, their relationship didn't work out. And my narcissist came in, swooped in like the knight in shining armor, and was able to tell him all the horrible, bad things his ex-wife did. And well, and then while I'm sitting there, how she does what I do. No, sweetheart. It's what you do. Your manipulation, your toxicity breeds nothing but evil. So, soulless narcissists are never going to surround themselves with people that are going to question their authority or their delusion of what reality is. They're always going to surround themselves with people that they can either manipulate very easily or also share toxic traits. But anyways, that's all I wanted to kind of say on this topic. It's been on my mind for a while. And if you have been in a narcissistic abusive relationship where you have seen somebody enabling the narcissist, who was it in their lives? And did they ever stand up for themselves? Did they ever call out the narcissist? I'd love to know. Drop comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share, anything that's going to help push this kind of content out onto YouTube so more people have access to it and can understand what they're going through. So until next time, guys, you guys take care. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.